My name is Michael DeLuca, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, capital D-E, capital L-U-C-A. Good evening. I know it's late. I will preface my comments by saying I had a 25-minute presentation ready for you folks for tonight, but I'm not going to do that, mostly because of the commentary made early on by Mr. Colonies and the remainder of you all. That seems to be that you're moving in the direction of withdrawing the 14 submittals and restarting the process, which I applaud you for acknowledging the necessity of that and also for acknowledging the need to get more public input, which I would be happy to contribute to when the time comes. So I have just a few things I want to mention, and it starts with the public process. This was my opening commentary for tonight, and some of it may be moot because we actually have had a very good public process this evening. I've become keenly aware in my 4 decades of work in planning how different the public process is from that of private industry. In the private sector, it is common to completely overhaul a business when new leadership comes in. Eliminating policies of the prior regime is commonplace, but that's not how it is or should be in the public sector. Since we have no profit motive here, each new leadership group should be building upon the successes of their predecessors. Why? Because every new policy, from the comprehensive plan on down, is given public forum before it is adopted and implemented. The public component is vital to decision-making to ensure that it reflects the needs and desires of the electorate. I believe you all have heard that loud and clear tonight. And again, I'm very happy to hear that you're ready to move on. But I do want to make a couple of points. It's interesting, my name came up from a couple other speakers earlier. Thanks, Joe Volpe. I didn't know I had a fan. He's not here, okay. I'm a fan of Joe Volpe too. And from what Ms. Cotronio said, that I could inform you all of the background on that comment at another time. But what I want to say is, I want to emphasize something that may have been mentioned once or twice already tonight. We are in compliance, as we sit here right now, with the State of Rhode Island Zoning Enabling Act. We are in compliance with the 30 or 40 bills that were passed between 2021 and last year. And to prove it, I'd like to make a note that no one who's come here, no one who's spoken tonight, particularly those who were in favor of approving the 14 amendments, identified a single specific passage or provision of the Zoning Enabling Act that we are in violation of. We did not hear any detail. So if you're saying that we're not in compliance, not you, but anyone, where? Moving on, what I want to say is the proposals that were drafted and submitted, I found to be unnerving in the sense that they were redline versions of previous chapters and then crossouts of language, specific language, but not the entirety of anything, of any of them, was completely crossed out. And so what really bothered me about all of that was that there was no replacement language. So, for example, one of them was, and I promise you I won't go through them all, that Section 18.1a, this was in number 1099, chapter 1099, they were going to strike the reference that identifies the planning staff as being the responsible staff to assist the planning board in zoning board with site plan review. But there was no replacement. Site plan review is a huge process, and it doesn't only go to the zoning ordinance. The subdivisions are submitted for site plan review by the planning board. So site plan review has to stay in the ordinance. You just can't eliminate it. And there needs to be an identified staff that's responsible to do that. Additionally, there was reference to, I'm not going to go through them all, but one of the chapters was going to be amended to take the planning board out of the process. Well, first of all, the planning board has to be in the process for subdivisions. There's a section on the code 4.8.1, which is the Galilee Special District. And in that, the planning board has sole authority to review site plans. But also, the planning board is the agency that certifies completeness of every site plan submitted. So to take them away from the process, but make them most responsible for certifying is not good thinking. So I submitted a 4-page outline of the comments that I'm just alluding to now. Ms. Masson has numerous copies of it that I handed to her earlier this evening, and I would ask that she distribute that to all. You've got them. And that you look at those. That outline identifies areas of inconsistency that could happen if we passed one or most, I think 12 of the 14. 2 of them didn't have any inconsistency created. And in the end result is over 20 areas of inconsistency or outright violation of state law that would come out of that. So I implore you not to pass those. And I ask that since, I hope you'll do this now so that I'll get away from here so you take action. If you do vote to reject all 14 and restart the process, I suggest strongly that you either A, arrange for workshops, first arrange for some sort of an organizational group to take the lead. You could give it to the planning board. You could establish a subcommittee of members of the planning board, members of the council, members of the public, and start working meetings. If it were me in your position, I would want to sit down with a group of people who are interested, who have varying opinions, as Mr. Volpe said. We want to hear all sides. And take a look at each one of these things. Look at the issues that you are most concerned with. Site plan review, bulk zoning, two-family dwellings. And try to scope out where the problem areas are without going to the point of jumping ahead to write the correction. Just scope out where you need to do that. Do that in a working meeting. Have more than one. Have numerous working meetings. And then bring that up the ladder to your committee or your subcommittee. And then through to the planning board. Let the planning board vet those things out. As others have said, 1 or 2 at a time so it's manageable. I would be happy to help in any stage of this. As you know, I have 18 years experience here. And I do know the zoning ordinance fairly well. So I'd be happy to be part of anything that you might set up for volunteers. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.